Attention please. This uploading is only for educational purpose. No intention to infringe copyrights. Learning English with subtitles. GPITRAL. Follow us.
Texas is big, over 250,000 square miles. In southern Texas, the city of Brownsville feels like an entirely different place.
It's still not touched by modern times. We still have an airport that was built over 60 years ago. The phone lines are still basically the same copper lines that were put in place at the beginning of the century. It seems like time has passed the area by.
The perfect conditions for monster legends to grow. Then, add a history of bloody conflict.
Back in the 1800s, there was several wars fought there. The Mexican-American War, the Civil War. There was a lot of death involved, and because of that, there's a lot of weird events that people report to this day that, they're unable to explain.
The problem here, the dead don't stay dead.
That night is a night I'll never forget because it was my first real paranormal experience of physically seeing something with my own eyes that couldn't be explained.
Meet Barb Dexter, once married to truck driver Cameron Dexter. Back when they first met, life was an adventure, but always grounded in common sense.
As a child growing up, I heard different little folklore and different little stories about monsters and campfire type tales, but I was always a skeptic about stuff.
One summer night in 1985, that skepticism would be tested.
We were about 18, we were high school sweethearts, and we had just started living together. And he had got a job truck driving, and every once in a while for something to do, I would go with him just to keep him company.
This time, the destination was Brownsville, Texas.
That day we had went to Brownsville to pick up a load.
Hey baby, can you hand me that towel in there, please?
They were running late, so we had to sit around and wait. And during that waiting period, we decided to go to one of the local truck stops and wash the truck.
This trip to Texas is going to be a really long ride. What are you going to do with all that alone time on the road?
Well, I know what we can do.
The truck was Cameron's pride and joy.
The truck was a big transport truck, and it had the snub nose with the bunk in the back. It had a Confederate flag on the cab on the side. It was like a sticker that somebody had put there at one time.
It wasn't until late in the evening they finally hit the road.
We decided that it was getting too dark and we were both pretty tired. So he just looked for a little side road to pull over on so we could just sleep for a few hours.
As the truck drives by, a dirty hand pushes up through the ground next to the road. It's dark. The truck pulls up. The headlights are switched off.
Cam and Barb didn't realize they were parked on land that had seen terrible bloodshed and tragedy during the Civil War.
There is nothing around us. There's a little bit of forest around us, and mostly just dirt road and two ditches on either side with some tall grass. I felt a little leery just because we were so far in the middle of nowhere and it was so unfamiliar to me.
She's reading in the cab.
Fears aside, Barb and Cameron try to get some sleep.
We were only laying there for maybe about 20 minutes at the most when we heard the first knock at the truck door.
As they cuddle, she looks worried.
I think someone's out there.
We're in the middle of nowhere. There's nobody out here.
I don't know, you should check it out. I mean, maybe one of the neighbors is upset that we parked here.
Okay.
He climbs out of the bunk in the cab.
Moments later, the couple is startled when they look out the window.
We could see up ahead in the distance, like somebody standing there.
I think I see someone. I'm gonna go check it out.
I'm coming with you.
All right.
I didn't want to stay in the truck by myself, so that's when we decided to get out and get a better look.
They both get out of the truck. He shines a torch. They wander around the truck into the darkness. Hand in hand, they search the area.
Barb and Cameron walk up the road and see a light up ahead.
Look, I think it's a porch light.
I see it. Let's go.
Leaving the truck door open, they walk towards the light, holding hands. They stop and shine the torch to the side. Barb turns.
Did you hear that?
What was that?
We could hear people talking, and it was fairly loud, but we could hear them, and we thought, well, where are they? They sounded close enough that you should be able to hear them, but we couldn't make out what they were saying. They seemed to be all around us, not just in one direction.
A figure stands behind the couple in the shadows. She frowns, looking around. They both look worried.
Panic sets in.
They all seemed like they were wearing the same thing. You could see it was like a darker military uniform.
They were soldiers, but more dead than alive.
We could see them and we could hear them, and we were just thinking, what the hell? Like, is this like a zombie apocalypse?
Let's head back.
She turns and comes face to face with a hideous creature with staring eyes and big teeth. Monsters and Mysteries.
On a summer night in 1985, near Brownsville, Texas, Barb and Cameron Dexter parked their truck for the night on a remote dirt road. Muffled voices draw them outside.
Did you hear that?
And as they investigate, they're soon surrounded by soldiers from another era with no business being alive.
They look around at the shadowy figures in uniform.
We got the feeling like we were in the middle of a reenactment, but we couldn't figure out why.
Let's head back.
She turns to see a hideous face.
They didn't know it, but Barb and Cameron were parked on one of the Civil War's most tragic battlefields.
Zombies surround the truck.
The Battle of Palmetto Hill started on May 11th, 1865, 34 days after Robert E. Lee surrendered to General Ulysses S. Grant in Virginia. All of a sudden, without the Confederates' knowledge, the Union force comes in and starts invading their territory.
The bloodiest war in America's history had officially come to an end. But in South Texas, tensions boiled over. Men were dragged into battle all over again.
You had these men, these Tejanos, who didn't want to fight, were told to fight, and they did their duty. The sound of retreat happens, and they start running away because that's what they're supposed to do. And here's the Confederate cavalry running up on them and shooting them in the back.
Many believe that these slain Union soldiers still roam the battleground today. But why?
These men of the 2nd Texas were never truly accounted for. They were listed as POWs, missing in action. I think these entities are coming back simply because they never received their due course in life. And they never expected to die in the way they did. When they're not given credit from their very own commanders, and they don't have the ability to go back home, I think they're stuck in this time frame.
Angry, unsettled zombies still fighting the Civil War.
It was something definitely paranormal.
We gotta get out of here.
It was like there were the Walking Dead surrounding us, and it was just freaking me right out.
The terrified couple try to get back to the safety of their truck.
The zombies surround the couple and pour at them. They manage to climb into the cab and shut the door. The truck is surrounded by dozens of zombies.
The adrenaline was just pumping, my heart was just racing. I was terrified.
They claw at the window.
Cameron turned on the headlights. They were standing right in front of the truck.
The zombies wave their arms.
It was like having a bad dream that you couldn't wake up from. Our reaction was, let's just get out of here.
They drive through the zombies, a sketch of a zombie bleeding under the wheels. Sunrise.
The open road never looked so good. They might have dismissed it all as a bad dream or some bizarre trick of the eye until they got a look at their truck the next morning.
Bloody handprints over the white truck.
There was just hundreds of handprints all over it. And I was just shocked. Every time I hear strange noises in the night, it just puts me back to that time that I was in with the Walking Dead soldiers.
Barb Dexter was a witness to one of Brownsville's mysterious events. She's not the only one.
One day I was finishing up my field study at Palmetto Hill, and I could actually hear gunshots and cannon shots. And a cannon is very unique, especially a Civil War cannon. It's not something that you would soon forget. Why did it happen? I have no idea. But for that 2 seconds of my life, I thought I was back there on the battlefield.
The end.
In one place, The Walking Dead reveal a tragedy buried and forgotten. In another, a sinister creature threatens what's near and dear. A monster can even turn an entire town to panic and fear.
I do believe in monsters. I think there's still unexplained things out there in the world. We may think we know everything, but we don't.